Hello, and welcome to Introduction to Sociology. Today we will be going over Chapter 3, Culture. All of the following information was retrieved directly from OpenStax's free online resources. To access the free textbook, click the link in the description. Thank you, OpenStax. Let's begin. Figure 3.1. People adhere to various rules and standards that are created and maintained in overall culture or the culture of their activity or group. Martial artists are known for extreme and visible respect for each other. Even in professional fights, which often contain a significant amount of vitriol and trash-talking ahead of time, many opponents demonstrate respect and concern for each other afterward. What is culture? Culture refers to shared beliefs, values, and practices. Society refers to people who live in a definable community and who share a culture. Figure 3.2. How would a visitor from a rural region act and feel on this crowded Hong Kong train? Material culture refers to the objects or belongings of a group of people. Non-material culture refers to the ideas, attitudes, and beliefs of a society. Cultural universals refer to patterns or traits that are globally common to all societies. Question: which of these do you feel is the most universal, that the response across different cultures would be most similar? A. Music. B. Visual art. C. Humor. D. Movies. E. Other. Let me know in the comments. Ethnocentrism and cultural relativism. Ethnocentrism is the practice of evaluating another culture according to the standards of one's own culture. Cultural imperialism is the deliberate imposition of one's own cultural values on another culture. Culture shock. An experience of personal disorientation when confronted with an unfamiliar way of life. Cultural relativism is the practice of assessing a culture by its own standards. Xenocentrism is a belief that another culture is superior to one's own. The indigenous people of Sagada in the Philippines have for thousands of years placed the bodies of deceased people into coffins hung on the cliffs near their villages. Some visitors may find this practice admirable, while others may think it's inappropriate. Values and beliefs. Values are a culture standard for discerning what is good and just in society. Beliefs, tenets, or convictions that people hold to be true. Ideal culture refers to the standards a society would like to embrace and live up to. Real culture is the way society really is based on, what actually occurs and exists. Sanctions are a way to authorize or formally disapprove of certain behaviors. Social control is a way to encourage conformity to cultural norms. Figure 3.4. In many parts of Africa and the Middle East, it is considered normal for men to hold hands in friendship. How would Americans react to these two soldiers? Photo courtesy of Jordy Mott /Wikimedia Commons. Norms. Norms are the visible and invisible rules of conduct through which societies are structured. Informal norms are casual behaviors that are generally and widely conformed to. Formal norms are established, written rules. While we consider cultural norms as well as other behavioral norms as scientific terms within the discipline, most sociologists and cultural competency advocates indicate that we should resist the more casual association of what is normal. In other words, we shouldn't refer to normal intelligence, normal relationships, and so on, symbols and language. Symbols are gestures or objects that have meanings associated with them that are recognized by people who share a culture. Language is a symbolic system of communication. Sapir-Whorf hypothesis refers to the way that people understand the world based on their form of language. Figure 3.8. Cosplayers are a distinct subculture, a smaller cultural group within the larger culture in the United States. And within the larger subculture are subgroups, such as this one emulating DC Comics characters. Types of culture. High culture refers to the cultural patterns of a society's elite. Popular culture refers to mainstream, widespread patterns among a society's population. Subcultures are groups that share a specific identification, apart from a society's majority, even as the members exist within a larger society. Countercultures are groups that reject and oppose society's widely accepted cultural patterns. Innovation and discovery. Innovations are new objects or ideas introduced to culture for the first time. Discoveries are things and ideas found from what already exists. Inventions are a combination of pieces of existing reality into new forms. Culture lag is the gap of time between the introduction of material culture and non-material culture's acceptance of it. Diffusion and globalization. Globalization refers to the integration of international trade and finance markets. Diffusion refers to the spread of material and non-material culture from one culture to another. Figure 3.9. Technology Adoption Lifecycle. Sociologist Everett Rogers, 1962, developed a model of the diffusion of innovations. As consumers gradually adopt a new innovation, the item grows toward 100% usage, or complete saturation within a society. This graph is frequently used in business, sales, technology, and cultural innovations. It can be used to describe how quickly different groups adopt, or begin using, a new technology or a new slang word, but note it is just a framework. Not every innovation follows this exact pattern, but it provides a good foundation for discussion and prediction. Figure 3.10. Officially patented in 1893 as the clasp locker left, the zipper did not diffuse through society for many decades. Today, it is immediately recognizable around the world. Sometimes, external observers may believe that people from a culture dress a certain way based on images from a parade or special event. In reality, these two people may wear business suits or jeans and t-shirts when they are not participating in a flower parade. While people may not always outwardly express their cultural identity or use items related to their culture, special events often bring out those expressions. Culture is one of the most foundational concepts in sociology. It includes all the shared beliefs, values, practices, symbols, and objects that define how a group of people live. Think of it as the social glue that holds communities together. We divide culture into two broad categories. Material culture, which includes physical items like clothing, tools, and technology, and non-material culture, which refers to ideas, values, language, and beliefs. A society is a group of people who share that culture and live in a defined space. Culture and society are tightly linked. You can't have one without the other. No matter where we are in the world, we find cultural universals, traits that appear in every society, though in different forms. Music, humor, and storytelling are just a few examples. A good question to reflect on is, which of these cultural elements, music, art, humor, movies, do you think is the most universal? Something to ponder. Now, when we look at cultures different from our own, we may experience ethnocentrism, judging others by our own cultural standards. But sociologists encourage us to practice cultural relativism, to try to understand a culture based on its own values and context. Related terms include cultural imperialism, when one culture pushes its values onto another, and xenocentrism, the belief that another culture is superior to your own. Culture also includes values and beliefs. Values are what a culture holds to be good, desirable, or just. Beliefs are the convictions or understandings that people accept as true. The difference between ideal culture, what we strive for, and real culture, what actually happens, is also important to understand. Norms are the rules and expectations that guide behavior. They can be informal, like shaking hands, or formal, like traffic laws. Norms are part of what keeps a society functioning smoothly. Culture also expresses itself in symbols and language. A symbol could be anything, a gesture, a flag, a brand logo, that carries specific meaning. Language, a symbolic system itself, is essential for communication and influences how we perceive the world, as shown in the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. Sociologists also study subcultures, groups that exist within a larger culture but maintain unique traits, and countercultures which reject and challenge mainstream cultural norms. Now, culture isn't static. It evolves through innovation, discovery, and invention. But sometimes, new technologies outpace the cultural values that surround them. This is called culture lag. For example, consider the zipper, invented in the 1890s, but not widely adopted until decades later. Over time, even niche innovations become common. To understand how new cultural elements spread, we can look to Everett Rogers' technology adoption lifecycle. This model explains how innovations move through different groups, from early adopters to the mainstream, eventually becoming part of everyday life. It doesn't apply to every case, but it helps us understand trends in technology, language, or even fashion. Finally, remember that cultural identity isn't always on display. People may dress traditionally during parades or ceremonies, but wear jeans and t-shirts day to day. Culture can be subtle, symbolic, and deeply personal. Thank you for tuning in to Chapter 3 of Introduction to Sociology. I hope to see you in the next video for Chapter 4. Have a good rest of your day.